Hey you guys, good to see you. I hope by now that you have some idea of the evolution of the early hominid species that came before us, and maybe have a little bit of a working knowledge of a few of them, one or two of them at least, that walked the earth before we did, and then when we come to us, or at least the earlier version of us, Homo sapien, and then of course the current version of us, Homo sapien sapien, doubly wise man. Hope you remember all that. Hope that's ringing a bell. Which brings me to a question. The question is, how come we're not all still in Africa? Why did some people leave and some people stay, and where did they go and how did they get there? Well, the first thing you need to know is that word that means movement of a species from one place to another. What? Oh, migration. Migration. Exactly right. Ding ding, by the way. Look over the word wall. Migration. Moving from one place to another. Well, humans did that, just like so many other of the species that we see in the world. Homo sapiens sapiens are not all still in Africa because of migration. There's a few things you need to know, at least a couple of things that you need to know before we move on. The first one is, this is super important, this movement, this migration from Africa to the rest of the planet took a really long time. It wasn't like one little portion of a tribe was like, I'm out of here, I'm taking my friends, we're gone, man, bye, see ya, losers. No, it wasn't like that. They didn't just go off and populate the rest of it. This took tens of thousands of years to be an effective planetary population. The way it would happen is that they would be a tribe or a large tribe of people who were hunting food. These were hunter-gatherers, my friend. Hunter-gatherers, okay? You remember hunter-gatherers, ding ding. These people moved from place to place to follow the food. They had to. They did not farm. And so they would leave to find a new source of food, either new game to hunt, meaning like woolly mammoth or bison or caribou or something like that. And they would also be able to find wild berries, wild fruits, wild vegetables that would supplement their diet. And so they would find sources of this. And maybe there was a great place to stay. And so you'd stay there for generation after generation after generation, maybe 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. And then maybe the food ran out again. And groups of people had to leave. Maybe there wasn't enough to support such a large tribe now. So portions of them had to leave, leaving other people behind to find a new place. And this would happen time and time again over thousands of years. There's going to be a video link at the end of this video that I hope someone clicks on so you can see how long it took and where it took Homo sapiens sapiens over time around the planet. Another thing that you need to know is that as people moved around the earth, they didn't all follow the same route. It wasn't like they got on I-85 and took, not like that. It was very random, different routes. Remember, they're following food. They're hunter-gatherers. They're looking for different sources of food, whether it be the protein source or the fruit and vegetable source, or grains. And so, especially when people began to get to North and South America, scientists do not agree on which route these people took. That is something that's super interesting, and that's what we're going to look at in this video. Okay. Take a look at this first migration image. Thank you, atlasofhumanevolution.com, where I got that image. If you remember that map, and if you need to rewind a little bit to look at it, look at where all the pink area is. The pink area is where all the humans existed 20,000 years ago. And you can also see that they did make it to North America, up towards where Alaska is, and our neighbors to the north, Canada, up where modern day Alaska and modern day Canada are. That's where they had made it to by that point in time. The thing is, if you look at a modern map today, you'll see that, well, there's no way they could have walked across the Bering Strait. It's water. But 20,000 years ago, scientists theorized that humans could have walked across the Bering Strait because it was during the Ice Age and it was frozen and dry. Let's talk about that. I'm going to read you something. This is from the Simon Fraser Museum website. North America and Asia are separated today by a narrow ocean channel called the Bering Strait. But during the Ice Age, when much of the Earth's water supply was locked in glacial ice, sea levels worldwide dropped and a land bridge emerged from the sea and connected the two continents. Sea level goes down, suddenly there's land. The Bering land bridge environment was very dry, so most of it remained free of glaciers throughout the Ice Age. Glaciers are made from snow and ice, so if no rain falls or snow falls, a glacier cannot form. Vegetation consisted mainly of grasses and low shrubs, which was ideal for woolly mammoths, horses, caribou, bison. Those are great sources of protein for our humans, right? Most scientists think that this was the route traveled by the first settlers of the Americas, as they followed these grazing animals from Siberia into Alaska and from there to the rest of North and South America. As the climate warmed up, the glaciers began melting, sea levels around the world began rising. Around 11,600 years ago, the Bering Land Bridge had once again disappeared beneath the Bering Strait. Now, most scientists believe this is the route that ancient humans took to get to North and South America. It's called the land bridge hypothesis. There's another hypothesis called the Solutrean hypothesis. This hypothesis says that some humans came to North America from Europe in the same kind of way, being able to walk across land and glaciers and hunt and follow maybe smaller game, maybe not woolly mammoths, but something smaller than that, to get from Europe over and into the east coast of the United States, modern day United States. It wouldn't have been the United States back then. Most of these people that scientists believe come from, just not too many scientists now, but they came from, these early peoples came from Spain and France, and they would have made their way into North America. This hypothesis has slowly lost its support in the last 10 or 20 years. Frankly, there's just not enough evidence to support it very strongly. Now, a third hypothesis, and this is a cool one, of people who came to North and South America is called the coastal migration theory, or the Kelp Highway. I think it's a really cool theory. I don't think all humans took this route, but I think it was used. I'm going to let someone else tell you the story of the Kelp Highway in just a moment, and you'll be able to click that link. But I'm going to give you the short answer, is that early humans took boats and they walked along the coast from Asia to North and then later South America. Small boats, not big boats, and made their way into North and South America that way. So, you have a couple of links to click. Please click one and then the other. I'd really appreciate it if you'd finish it up. Make sure you finish up your guided notes. Make sure you finish up your packets. Make sure you're being the good citizens I know you are, sixth graders, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.